Welcome to the Practice Brave podcast. I am the host, Brianna Battles, founder of Pregnancy and Postpartum Athleticism and CEO of Everyday Battles. I'm a career strength and conditioning coach, entrepreneur, mom of 2 wild little boys, and a lifelong athlete. I believe that athleticism does not end when motherhood begins, and this podcast is dedicated to coaching you by providing meaningful conversations, insights, and interview topics related to fitness, mindset, parenting, and of course, all the nuances of pregnancy and postpartum. From expert interviews to engaging conversations and reflections, this podcast is your trustworthy, relatable resource for learning how to practice brave through every season in your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Practice Brave podcast. Today I have Tara Peterson here. She is a 2026 Winter Olympian in the sport of curling, and she does that with her sister. And it's really awesome because she is an athlete mom and she's a dentist and overall an incredibly high achieving woman, as you can probably tell by just the nature of that description. So Tara, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Bree, for having me. This is pretty exciting.
Absolutely. So we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but there's a lot of emphasis on highlighting moms that are now making it to the Olympics and are professional athletes and mothers. And it's incredible to see them finally get that spotlight and that attention that they deserve. But we rarely know everything that has gone into that process, like who you were before becoming a mother, and then how you've been able to navigate becoming a mom while still pursuing your own interests and your sports and your goals and what your potential still is. So I would love to learn more about who you are.
Yeah, for sure. It's true. It's been a long journey. You're making me tear up just kind of thinking about all of that. But yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty cool how obviously there's been mothers in sport forever.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like it's getting more and more publicity, right? Because there's more of us and we're all waiting longer to start families because of sport. And I think just society is more accepting of that, whereas maybe 10 years ago they weren't. It was kind of like, you got to choose.
Right.
And now women don't have to choose, which is amazing, right? Because we can do it all. So I think that's important to just get out that information to anybody that's, if they're kind of like, well, if I don't know if I want to start a family because I have this, this thing, whether it's work, it's sport, it's anything in life, I always say, just do it. Like,
Yeah.
It'll all work out. Like, if something is worth it, you'll work for it. And as long as you have people behind you, like, you got to have people in your court to help you, because it's I cannot believe all the single moms who do it by themselves. That is extremely impressive. I would not be able to do that. I have so many people backing me, and like, that's what's made it so I can do all the things that I've been able to do.
Yeah. And I can't wait to learn more about you, because just like looking at your overall who you are, I'm like, wow, you are like incredibly impressive. And I'm like, I just really want to learn, like, how did this start? Because so many people don't know what curling is until it is on their TV in the living room. And I told you, like, my boys and I went down a rabbit hole of like trying to learn more about it. How did you get into curling?
Yeah, so curling is a huge family sport. My mother is originally from Winnipeg. So her dad was a big curler back in the day. They moved down to the States, and it was a very male-dominated sport at the time. So he would do it with his buddies. They were smoking and drinking out on the ice. So women just honestly weren't even like allowed. Children definitely not allowed, like, at the club because of all that was going on. And then flash forward to 2000 was when one of my mom's friends was curling and said, "Hey, I remember that your dad used to do this. Why don't you bring the family down and let's try it?" So my mom brought the whole family down. We tried it, and then my parents signed us up for junior curling at the St. Paul Curling Club in St. Paul, Minnesota. And my sister and I always joke how we hated it. Like, we did not like it. But I think that comes down to the fact that we obviously didn't know what we were doing. You weren't good at it, and we didn't have any friends. But they forced us to go and it was Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. So you had to get out of bed early on a Saturday morning, right? So they forced us to go. And eventually we liked it. We got on a team, we made friends, but we always joke about like most sports, there's like a halftime in between it that you go up and upstairs and you eat snacks. So like that's what kept us going back was the snacks. We loved the snacks. So we always joke about that. And I still love snacks, let's be honest.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, we met friends, we got on a team, we started competing, just kind of around Minnesota, Wisconsin area. And then those tournaments were super fun. Like you just have one chaperone, one parent of the four of you, and then you're just hanging out with your friends all weekend. Like you're staying in a hotel room. Like it's fun. And then, like I said, we kind of got good, won a junior nationals, won a few. Here we are, 2 Olympics later, still enjoying it.
Just fast forward all of that. Yeah. And like side quest, you are also a dentist. So along the lines, you were curling since you were a young girl with your sister. Mm-hmm. And then is that something that you've just always consistently done? Or did you ever have a break from it? Like, did you ever think between like basically pursuing your profession and not as much time spent with curling? Like, what was that like?
Yes, for sure. I had to make a decision at some point, but yeah, curling was always there, but it was always a hobby. It's a sport. They don't really have it in university here. Yeah. But we always knew you need a degree, you need an education, you need a job. Curling's not going to pay the bills. Hopefully in the future at some point, they're kind of working on this professional curling league, but hopefully at some point it will pay bills for someone. Doesn't right now. So my parents encouraged us. So yes, I'm a dentist. My sister's a pharmacist. We did undergrad, we did dental school. But again, to be a dentist, I always joked, you have to be there to learn, right? I got to work on patients to learn how to become a dentist. So I did have to take a break from curling. My first year of dental school, I was curling, and that was all book work. So it was easy to take tests on the road, study on the road. And then my second year of dentistry, I did make the decision to step away from curling. So I guess had like 3 years off. I kind of had a foot in the door. I was kind of the alternate for a team for a bit, but I couldn't commit because I did choose dentistry, knowing that curling would still be there if I wanted it. Yeah. And so then in 2018 in Pyeongchang, I went there to as a spectator to cheer on my sister who was in the 2018 Olympics, and like staring at the ice, I was like, this is such a cool vibe. Like I want to come back, but I want to be down there. I want to be on the ice. I want to compete. So it kind of worked out that I was able to get onto that 2018 Olympic team because 2 girls had babies kind of the next consecutive years. So I was able to kind of slip into the team. And then, in 2022 was my first Olympics.
That is amazing. And so for those listening that maybe they've seen curling on TV, but they don't really understand the mechanisms or like what are they trying to accomplish in this sport? Can you give us a little bit of an overview?
For sure. Yeah. Curling it's a fun sport. Everyone gets addicted, especially every 4 years in the Olympics, because it's one of the few sports where the athletes are mic'd, so you can literally hear everything we're saying, everything we're planning. Like we're talking strategy, we're yelling it across the sheet, so our opponents know exactly what we're going to do, and we're talking. Okay, I'm going to do this. They're going to do this. Not many sports you do that, right? Like you're trying to hide that. You can't hide it in curling. But basically, it's kind of like shuffleboard on ice. The goal is to get more of your rocks to the bullseye, to the very center of it's called the house, but that bullseye, and then kind of like baseball. So there's 8 or 10 ends or innings. So you kind of throw them that way, and then you come back this way. And everyone always asks, okay, do you throw the rock or do you sweep? We do both. So again, kind of like baseball, you got to field and you got to bat, is kind of the gist of that. And yeah, there's actually a lot of fitness that goes into the sport that people always go, that looks like a sport I could do. And it's true. Like that's one of the fun things about curling is that it is a sport, that it's a lifetime sport. Anyone can do it. Like I still play in a league that we play 80-year-olds. Yeah. And there's kids. Like anybody can do it. Anybody can try. And I think anyone should. But then once people try it, they go, holy crap, that is so much harder than I thought. Yeah. And they go, okay, I get what they make it look so easy on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about like the performance side of things. Like what does your training have to look like? Because there's a lot of sports strategy, but what about what complements that to make you really elite in curling?
Yeah. So, like with the sweeping aspect of it, you're sweeping your little butt off for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like biathlon, then you need to quick get down the hack and you need to get your heart rate down, controlled to then deliver and throw your stone. So, there's a lot of interval training that we do to make it so that our cardio is good because it's the game is 3 hours long. So, you're constantly going up, down with that. And then sweeping is a lot of upper body, but it's also core. And then actually delivering the stone, we're in a one-legged lunge. So you're always in that on that same side. So we need to strengthen your quads, your glutes, all that for pushing out of the hack or the starter's block is what we push out of.
Yeah.
But it's funny there. People are like, well, it must just be, legs or it must just be arm. It's honestly full body that we need to do because you use your whole body during all of it. Even sweeping, we're using our legs. Like my legs get more tired than my arms sometimes. So there's a lot that goes into it.
That's amazing. And so I know you said that you've been doing this since you were a little girl, but did you do other sports as well? Or was your focus very concentrated on curling growing up?
No, we did all the sports. I always say my parents were super good about putting us in every sport just to find out what we liked because you never know what a kid is going to gravitate to. You never know what a kid is going to be good at. So we did kind of any sport you can think of, and curling obviously was kind of a almost like a club sport, right? Like you're not doing it at the school. You're not doing it in your city. You need to drive to the curling club to get there. So it's a little bit different in that sense, that we were lucky that our parents could drive us there. But yeah, I played soccer, softball. I ran cross country in high school, golf. I still golf a lot. So kind of just everything. And then once we kind of got good at curling, that's when we maybe dropped some other sports because there wasn't time for it. Or I always joke that I haven't downhill skied or snowboarded since I was in middle school when I got more competitive with curling because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth falling down the hill and breaking a wrist because then you can't curl. So there are some things that we definitely stopped doing to take up curling more seriously.
So when did you see like, okay, I'm really good at this and I have a shot of taking this pretty far? Like at what point was that? And was that along like the same era that you were in dental school or was it before that? Like where were you at in that process?
Yeah, I think it was before that. So the Junior Worlds, the year before an Olympics, is always like the test event for the Olympics. So in 2009, we went to the Junior Worlds in Vancouver before the 2010 Winter Olympics. So I think it was there. I think that was my first Junior Worlds and just walking into the Olympic Stadium. And because it's a test event, they're treating you like Olympians. Like nobody can get through this door except for the athletes. And then they have food at the venue and they have drivers driving you everywhere. Like you're treated pretty darn well. And how old am I at that point? Maybe 17. So I think that was it because you're curling on what's going to be Olympic ice. You see the Olympic rings. And that's when it's kind of like, okay, if I stick with this, if I work hard, I think that I could be an Olympian. I could be here again.
Yeah. So what brought you back to it when you were in dental school and you were doing a lot of that, concentrating your efforts around becoming a professional? When did you start dosing curling back into your life and routine? And then I guess then taking it more seriously again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I did have to step away, and I think I definitely was still playing in league.
Yeah.
I've been in the same league at the St. Paul Curling Club since middle school. So like 20 years I've been in the same league. Tuesday nights at 4:50. It's a great league. But and it's a beer league, so it's fun. But still playing in leagues. So again, I always had my foot in the door. I bet I was still practicing a bit, but it was when I went to the 2018 Olympics in South Korea that I was like, okay, I want to do this again. I miss it. I miss that competition. I miss that passion that you feel. And also, I've just always been, the busier I am, the better I am. I thrive off that. If I don't have enough going on, I'm like, okay, and now I'm lazy. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
They always say, give the busiest person you know a job to do and they'll get it done quicker than anybody else. And like, I feel like that's me. So I needed another thing. Now that dental school was ramping down, I was going to get a job. I didn't want to just work. It sounds boring. So it was that. So that was like the end of summer, early fall of 2018 that I jumped back in head first. And with the new job that I got off of dental school, I said, okay, I want to do this. And they said, okay, we'll make it work. You might have to work extra when you're home, but let's make it work.
That's incredible. So then what was the next big event that you were training for once you decided to do both at the same time, essentially?
Yeah. So like with curling in a season, it's kind of like we play every other weekend. We go up to Canada. There's a few local events, but it's mostly you fly to Canada.
Okay.
For those, they're long weekends. And like I said, it's every other weekend from, let's say, September through December. Just kind of in these get going tournaments. You're acquiring points on the World Curling Tour
Okay.
to then get invited to bigger tournaments. But then it's ultimately, I guess, the nationals that are in February and then the worlds that are in March that you're working for. And then the worlds, you need to do well at worlds to then get that Olympic spot. So really when you join a team, it's kind of like you're almost committing to a 4-year plan because it's ultimately to get to that Olympics.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so when did you and your sister like really form this team to be committed? Was it after that 2018?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm like thinking back, when was it? And the teams changed a bit from 2018 to 22 to 20, what was this, 26? Oh, that's a long time. But yeah, it's so prior to, I guess, that 2018 Olympics, my sister and I were competitors for a bit. Like there was maybe a stretch of 6 years or so that we played together in juniors. She's 2 years older. She aged out of juniors and then was on a different team as me. So like that was super hard on my parents because we would be playing against each other at these big events. And my mom's, of course, getting interviewed. Who are you cheering for? And she's like, I just cheer for good shots. Like that's all I can do.
Yeah.
So we were happy to be back together because I obviously it's easier on the parents, but we just get along. We're friends outside sports. She lives 10 minutes away from me. Like our babies hang out together all the time. Like we're just close. So I think it's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
That we were happy to be back playing together.
It's amazing. So talk to me about your journey into motherhood. What was that like for you? Especially like professionally in your career, but also in your sport, like both.
Yeah, for sure. It was something that my sister and I delayed. We kept delaying and delaying because like anybody who's become a mother, you're never ready. There is never going to be the perfect time. And with curling, again, I talked about kind of that 4-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
We had kind of said, okay, between 2022 and 26, we want to have a family. We need to. Time's ticking. We're not getting any younger. And so we had told the team, this is hopefully the plan. We're going to try for this. And they were supportive, which is fantastic. And we wanted to do it together because it would just be more fun to have babies together. So again, with curling, we were trying to have the babies during the off season. So we just could never skip a beat and get back into it. And who knows how the human body's going to work, all that. We've never done this before. So we both ended up being a little bit later than we wanted. I ended up having my baby 4 weeks early. I swear, because I said, you got to get out of me. I got to get to curling. The team needs me. Because I was originally due at the end of September. She was due at the end of November. And the curling season starts in August. So I didn't start the season and she did. I think she played in 2 tournaments, very pregnant, very uncomfortable. And then she's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, 2 seasons ago now. We kind of had a revolving door. 4 people play. We had a 6-man team. Like, thanks for all the help to the ladies that helped out. And then, like I said, I swear the baby listened to me when I said, you gotta come out because I got to get to this international competition. The team needs me. We can't play without me. Tabs out. So yeah, our first tournament, the baby, my husband and I went at 7 weeks postpartum. And we flew up to Canada and I competed. It was tough just because you're navigating breastfeeding, the baby's not sleeping. And I played great. It was amazing, but I think I blacked it all out, right? Because you can't think about
so many
anything
things. You're like, I don't even, how did we actually do that?
Yeah. And like my husband is a saint because he did everything else. It was amazing.
Yeah. So what was your pregnancy like? Were you curling pretty consistently through your pregnancy?
Not really. So I guess I got pregnant in January. So then I played at the Nationals, hardly pregnant. And then I played at the Worlds. Maybe I was 14 weeks pregnant. So I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I don't even think I told my team. And first baby, no one can tell, right? And I don't really feel anything. I was lucky. I didn't have any nausea. It was easy to do all that. But then the season kind of ends in March. Or I guess end of March. So I did not have to curl April through
Got it.
September.
You really did time that like perfectly, I guess.
I did. Again, it would have been a little bit better had I been more pregnant at Worlds and have the baby sooner, but it actually worked out pretty well that I did not have to.
Yeah.
My sister did, though. Like I said, she had to play 2 tournaments and it was hard. She goes, I can do it, but everything hurts.
Yeah.
Playing at 8 months pregnant.
Right. Because I would assume that like physics and biomechanics matter like a lot in that sport. So if your body is different than what you're used to, then it's going to impact a lot of that outcome. And this is me projecting. I don't know enough about the sport, but
No, you're right. And again, it's one of those things like when we talk to the doctors, they're like, if it's something you're doing and you're used to it, absolutely do it. But because I took all those months off because it was the summer break,
yeah,
it's way too hard to get back into it. Whereas had I gotten pregnant in September and literally curled through the entire pregnancy, I think it would have been much easier because you just keep doing it from week to week, that you don't notice that all of a sudden you're huge and you don't stretch as good. And
absolutely. So you said that you had your baby about 4 weeks early.
Yep.
So then what was your recovery like? What was your birth like? What was those early weeks postpartum like? Obviously knowing that you really wanted to compete again, but what was that early era like?
Yeah. So again, I was like, okay, I gotta get this baby out. Like, I gotta get back. And she's like, okay, like you're kind of crazy, but you don't know what you don't know, right? And she's like, I just want you to for sure try to take 1 to 2 weeks where you're doing nothing. Just you and baby. Do not curl, do not work out. Go ahead and do pelvic floor, breathing, things like that. But basically, I don't want you leaving the house. And I was like, okay, fine. And I was able to do that because it's my first. I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So then I think it was at 2 weeks, I literally went to the club and I trained. I think I brought the baby, put a blanket on him, and he just slept behind me on the sheet. And it was, the first time back a little hard. You're like, ooh, what's going on? But it's like riding a bike, like with anything. You get back to it pretty easily.
Yeah.
The hardest part, again, because your abs are torn apart, was sweeping. Like I just couldn't quite get all of my weight into it because I have no ab strength. Like I didn't realize how much abs I use in all of curling until I didn't have any.
Yeah. And so that whole system is just a lot weaker. And then the pelvic floor, even if it was like a straightforward delivery, like it's still being able to absorb that force and pressure of that upper body rotation and exertion is like, that is a lot on the core system.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You had asked about the birth. I had a vaginal birth. It went fine. Whatever. It was good enough. But I kind of later on through the Olympic committee was watching some pelvic floor therapy videos and like or whatever I was learning. And I was like, I guess I'm not totally normal. So I started seeing a pelvic floor therapist.
Okay.
Amazing. I wish I would have done it sooner. And like all my PT friends told me, go see one. I was like, I'm fine. I'm a professional athlete.
Right.
I'm great. No, everybody should go. It was amazing.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That's a very common experience, it's like you said, you don't know until you know. And then it's always like that athlete brain where we like to think that we're the exception to all of the rules until we're like, all right, I guess that's beneficial. I understand.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I would assume at 7 weeks postpartum, you're trying to get out there, and even like that deep lunge, was that a hard position for you, or were you mostly in a sweeping, or like, I don't know, were you able to, I guess, modify your participation or not really?
Yeah, I don't think I had to. The lunge was not hard, because that's just something that's so natural for me. Also, like with my pregnancy and because I was working out so much and baby came early, I like never got that big. Like looking at my photos the day I delivered, I thought I was huge. You look back, I'm like, there is nothing there.
Yeah.
So I think I was very fortunate in that sense too, that I didn't get that big.
Yeah.
And was able to literally work out. I played 18 holes the day that I delivered my baby. Like I just was very active, that it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
I think, again, looking back, I could have blacked out. Maybe it was way harder than I remember. I don't know.
we're just gonna like move on. It's fine. No. So then you competed again at 6 or 7 weeks postpartum. And then what? You're figuring out how to be a mom. Like, when were you going back to work? Like, what was that process like too? That all of those things that you were balancing.
Yeah. Again, my husband was very kind that he just said, Tara, whatever you want, we'll do. So we did that first tournament, and then I think we came home for a bit, and then we did another tournament 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't going back to work until, let's see here, like January, basically, because baby came early. I was like, well, I had blocked off my schedule.
Yeah.
So I kind of had 4 weeks off, 4 months off from work. So it was literally just curling, trying to learn breastfeeding, pumping when I can't, and just doing all that and just really enjoying the baby snuggles. I did do a lot of, like I said, like YouTubing, just yoga, postpartum yoga, and just really trying to get the ab strength back and work on the breathing techniques and all that. And and I just brought baby everywhere with me. I had a friend that had a baby shortly after me, so we did, let's go get coffee. And I just tried to be as normal as you can to get out of the house, because otherwise you go crazy, in my opinion.
Especially, I think, like, for being a really high achieving woman, which you check every box of that, between curling and being a dentist, being a mother, having lots of like activities that you do, to then go into what can feel like almost a suffocating season of motherhood, because you're so out of routine and out of your normal, that it's really common to just like, I got to get back into something, which for you was like curling right away. But it can be really kind of isolating when you're used to so much going on, and now you're more focused on one role.
Yes, it's very true. And like, I don't think I ever got like full postpartum depression, but there's definitely the blues, right? Like you said, because you are isolated. And I think there's a decent amount of people that came over, but my husband went right back to work, I think, after a week, because we wanted to save his paternity leave till later for more travels with curling for me. And thanks, John. Yeah. But it's true that I think I was fortunate in the way that I was able to throw myself back into things. And again, when the baby's so young, all he does is sleep. So it was easy for me to bring him to the curling club and throw rocks. And it was my excuse to get out of the house for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And having that as like an outlet where you still have community, your brain, I would assume, almost goes to a different place, like where you're only focused on that one thing instead of like all the other things that infiltrate our brain.
Yes. For sure.
Keeps you nice and present. So then what was it like when you did go back to work as a dentist and mom and curling? So now we're adding in another element of like trying to juggle lots of different responsibilities. So what was that transition like?
Yeah, that was hard. I didn't want to go back to work. I feel like so many moms feel that. Like, you don't want to, because you got into this new routine. Yeah. And baby's like just starting to smile and have more personality. And you're like, but now dad, you get that. And I don't get that now. Yeah. So it was easier because my husband was then home. When I went back to work, he was home for maybe just 6 weeks. I think he only got 6 weeks. Yeah. So it was just easier. We didn't have to quite do daycare, because then all of a sudden, once he went back to work, then we had to do daycare. Oh, I was like, John, you need to drop him off at daycare, because I will cry. I will not be able to do this. Yeah. But now it's like, I love daycare. So like, there's just so many different stages. And it's kind of funny looking back, because everything seems like the biggest deal. And like, I remember going back to work and I'm like, when am I going to find time to pump? Because I need to put like breaks in my schedule to pump, because I don't want to lose my milk supply. It all works out. It all works out in the end.
Yeah. It's like, it all works out. It's also really stressful at first, but you eventually find a routine. And I feel like being an athlete just prepared you so well for that, of like everything is figure outable, and like you're so much more resilient than you think you are. And like there is a way. You just have to keep finding it.
Yeah, for sure.
So what does your, like, I guess like leading into this Olympic cycle, the 2026 Winter Olympics, you and your sister have both become mothers. What was that process like, getting, like, I guess, balancing careers, very high demand careers? You said your sister's a pharmacist? Yeah. Okay, so pharmacy, dental, and then both of you are mothers in very similar seasons of life, and you have this Olympic goal. What was that process like getting there?
Yeah. So actually it was tough. So I mentioned like that season we had the babies, revolving door of players. We did not have a good season, as you can imagine, because it was a different team every week. And it was a very important one because it was the last Worlds in how you determine who gets spots in the Olympics. So at Worlds, there's 14 teams. The Olympics, there's only 10. So I think it's just the two previous World Championships, you get points based off how well you do to then get the spots in the Olympics. So we won the nationals. At this point, I don't know, 3 months postpartum. My sister's like she's not. Maybe I'm closer to 6. She's only like 2 months postpartum. And it's her first tournament back is the national championships. It's like, all right, well, kiddo, you got to figure this out. Right. And honestly, like, luckily she had me to like lean on because I had just been through it all. And she's like, well, Tara succeeded, so we can make this work.
Yeah.
So we won, and then we had to go to the World Championships, but they were in South Korea. So the problem with that is now we said, okay, we're not bringing babies because that is a 13-hour flight with babies, a whole time change. Like, we're not going to do that. But that was hard in itself because now we are in South Korea for 3 weeks without babies. Like I said, she's only, I think, 3 months now. I'm 6 months. So easier for me, but very difficult for her. And we're navigating pumping, and they didn't have milk stork available in South Korea. So we had the South Korean coach order us a chest freezer. We put it in our hotel room so we could freeze our milk. And then we brought it all home like in our suitcases. Like, that was our claim to fame, was how much milk we brought home from South Korea because we were not throwing that away.
Right. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes. So that was our claim to fame. That was like kind of the only thing we succeeded in because the curling was not so great. We were exhausted. Like, you've been through it. Like, how much energy do you put out breastfeeding?
Right.
Now add in playing 2 games a day curling. You're in a foreign country where the food is different.
Right.
Whatever. We did not get our Olympic spot. We were not good enough. So we were, of course, very sad. We're like, all right, we just went to South Korea for 3 weeks without our babies, and it wasn't worth it. Yeah. So that sucked. And then, so basically what we said is, so there was a last chance that 2 more teams could get spots. You got to plan another event. So all summer we trained really hard. We started our season earlier. Normally we start like kind of end of August. We were like, nope, we got to start in July. Because we need to start practicing. We need to start competing because we need to peak at our U.S. Olympic trials in November. And then we need to peak again in December at the Olympic qualifier. And then again at the Olympics in February. So it was just like a whole thing, but we regrouped and we had a very good season. And I think it helped because now babies are older. They're not traveling with us. We're almost normal.
Yeah.
Which is good, right?
Right.
I think starting off the season, I was done breastfeeding. I made it to basically a year, and my sister, she did the milk stork. We had a tournament in Scotland in August. She did milk stork, sent the milk home, and then she was done shortly after that. So
you were both like around a year-ish postpartum by this point in time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So proud of ourselves for making it that far, but and I maybe would have gone longer, but with curling, I'm like, it's too hard.
Yeah.
The travel, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
And again, power to us. Like I'm always like with people, if it's not working, be done. You do not need to breastfeed. Formula is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And you don't know until you use it. And it's like, yeah, baby likes that just fine.
I could have made myself so much more sane, but we all have to learn our lessons and perspective as time goes on.
Yes, because you don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so luckily, like I said, we had a fantastic season. We were able to work really hard, the whole team, and we won the U.S. Olympic trials. We won the spot at the Olympic qualifier, so we got to go to the Olympics. So it was all worth it, but it was a very long, drawn out 2 years of ups and downs and highs and lows. But I wouldn't have changed it for anything because it's part of the journey, right? Like
process. And then I guess it's a testament for sometimes you're just surviving in that first initial year postpartum. But then I tell everyone there's something magical, especially for athletes, that happens around usually the 9-month postpartum, 12-month postpartum, and 18-month postpartum marks. And so it's you will start to really feel yourself turn a corner mentally, physically, emotionally, and like in your performance around that time frame. And that seems like
For
it
sure.
just worked out beautifully for you peaking at the perfect time.
Yes. Yes.
But that's a
It's very
hard
true.
process to trust
Yes,
and
it
to
is.
just fit in. You did it.
We did it. We did it.
I know most people can't see this this video, but I know Tara has like some tears because
Hey, don't rat me out.
yeah, I have to. I have to because it is so easy to see the highlight reel, right? Like to see
Mhm.
these moments of like you made it to the Olympics, but there's so much sacrifice that has gone into this process for years, but really specifically during such a vulnerable and significant time period in your life as a human. Nevertheless, as an athlete and as a professional, like it's a lot of sacrifice, and that story does not get told enough.
Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a really big deal, and I wish that this was more highlighted. And because there's a lot that you've had to sacrifice physically, mentally, emotionally,
Mhm.
and then doing it alongside your sister, both of you. Like it's a really
Yeah.
big deal, and your babies are going to be so proud to know they were part of that process.
Yeah.
I know. I love like I don't love when it like turns emotional, but I think it shows like you're tough, you're driven, you are high achieving and athletic, and then like your heart and effort just really shines through in some of these conversations. And that's not always easy for athletes who are,
Mhm.
driven.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I feel like since having a baby, everything makes me cry. Anytime you talk about babies, I'm like, oh, yes, I get it.
Yeah,
So it's normal.
it's a big deal. So you made it to Italy, you competed there. How did you feel there?
Yeah, Italy was awesome. So that was my second Olympics. The one prior was Beijing, which was COVID. So
Sure.
no family, no friends, no spectators in the arena.
Yeah.
I guess there were some other athletes from other sports that could be there, but basically no spectators, right? So you make a fantastic shot and it's just
Silence.
crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing. And you're like, well, come on. Like, why aren't you celebrating? I'm pumped.
Yeah.
And like, I'm the type of person I thrive off the energy of the atmosphere, the crowd. Like, it's fun for me.
Yeah.
So I was so looking forward to that and just having a quote unquote normal Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it was. It was amazing. The stands were full every single game. We had so many friends and family there. Like of our Peterson crew, we had I think 30 to 40 people. Not all at the same time, but like of just like our people. That's not even including my teammates' families and their friends. And then so like there's a group over on this side of our fans, and then just like on this side and this side, there's just random US fans cheering for us. They're holding the US flag. So like it was surround sound of all these people cheering for us and coming from so far. And we talked to some people just after the game. They're like, yeah, we're from Minnesota too. We just want to come out and support you. And then we're from California. Like people came from everywhere. It was really cool. And
Amazing.
like I said, I kind of thrive off that energy. So like we'd make a big shot. I'm the one literally hyping up the crowd. I'm like, come on, let's go. Because it's so fun.
Yeah.
So loved that. And then, I mean, where we were, if you saw it on TV, like the views were just
Amazing.
spectacular.
Yeah.
Like it looks fake. It literally looks like we're behind a green screen, the mountains, because you are right at Mountain Valley. And literally they go straight up. And one day we took a gondola up to the top of the mountain. It was 7,000 feet up there when we started at 1,500. Like spectacular. It was such a beautiful resort town that we were in.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And just congratulations. Like
Thank you.
competing and performing on the biggest stage, doing it with your sister, doing it as a mother, doing it as a professional. Like you represent so much. And it's like, what an incredible opportunity and testament to what is still possible even after becoming a mother. Like you are still like kind of honoring the little girl that grew up loving this sport, and it hasn't had to end for you, even as other things have like come into your life that are very important as well, like your career, motherhood, family. Like it's just a really beautiful testament.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I'm very fortunate that, my parents got me into curling a long time ago and had the means to get us there. Like I said, you have to drive to the curling club. Like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of luck involved, but also just right place, right time. And then of course there's the work ethic and everything. But yeah.
What advice do you have to other like high drive, high achieving women, whether it's their athleticism, fitness, or career, or otherwise, just this person that you are? What advice would you have?
Yeah, I always say just honestly work hard and dream big. Like that's what I tell the kids. Like that's my main thing, because if you have those two aspects, like you can do anything. Like nothing is off limits if you just kind of believe in yourself and dream big. Make it happen.
It's amazing. What is on the horizon for you now that you are home and maybe establishing a new routine? What does life look like for you now? And is there anything on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so we were fortunate that we decided to stay back in Italy for a little bit. We did Venice for a day, and then my husband, baby, and I flew to Greece for a week.
Great.
I was like, we're in Europe, let's just stay for a bit. And
Yeah.
I was able to kind of decompress there because I knew that if I came home immediately, it's throw yourself back into work.
Yeah.
There's no time, right? So we were able to just kind of bop around and quote unquote do nothing while we're just touristing, and it was amazing. So now I'm back to work, which is good. Like I love routine, and like they talk about like that post-Olympic blues, which is very real. Win or lose, like everybody gets it because you just had the month of your life looking at mountains every day, and I didn't even know if it was a Monday or a Tuesday, and then it's just back to quote unquote civilian life and back to normal. I'm like, So I'm lucky that I have a family. I'm lucky that I have a job to go back to. Again, we talked about postpartum, throwing yourself into something so that you aren't bored and sitting there and, thinking about the past, because that's not how you move forward.
Yeah.
So just kind of getting back into the swing of that, going to work and just enjoying daycare drop-offs and daycare pickups and enjoying the snuggles of the little baby while I'm home. And it's also funny, like, again, he's a toddler now. He is a full-blown toddler flying home from our long flight from Amsterdam to Minneapolis was the longest flight of my life. And that child has been on a lot of flights. That one was very hard because he's 18 months and he does not want to sit still.
No.
We survived, but I'm happy to kind of just be home and thankful for daycare, because now it's the time when he needs more entertaining, and there's a lot of people that can help with that.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, Tara, thank you so much for sharing your story and some of like the behind the scenes of what's gone into, doing it all and doing it all at a really high level and still sharing like the human side of it. I think it's really inspiring for so many mothers to listen to, so many professionals to listen to, so many athletes to know that like the sentiment of this brand is athleticism does not end when motherhood begins. It looks different for everyone. And thank you for sharing what different has looked like for you in this season of life.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It was fun talking about it all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practice Brave podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review and help us spread the work we are doing to improve the overall information and messaging in the fitness industry and beyond. Now, if you are pregnant and you are looking for a trustworthy exercise program to follow, I have you covered. The Pregnant Athlete Training Program is a well-rounded program for pregnancy with workouts for each week that are appropriate for your changing body. That's 36 weeks of workouts, 3 to 4 workouts each week, and tons of guidance on exercise strategy. We also have an at-home version of that program. If you are postpartum and you're looking for an exercise program to follow, the 8-week postpartum athlete training program would be a really great way to help bridge the gap between rehab and the fitness you actually want to do. From there, we have the Practice Brave Fitness program, which is an ongoing strength and conditioning program where you get new workouts each week and have a lot of guidance from myself and my co-coach, Heather Osby. This is the only way that I'm really offering ongoing coaching at this point in time. If you have ever considered becoming a certified pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coach, I would love to have you join us. Pregnancy and Postpartum Athleticism is a self-paced online certification course that will up-level your coaching skills and help connect the dots between pelvic health and long-term athletic performance, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. Become who you needed and become who your online and local community needs by becoming a certified pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coach. Thank you again for listening to the Practice Brave podcast. I appreciate you. And please help me continue spreading this messaging, this information, and this work.